Welcome to Champion Stepdad Podcast. We are exploring the unique role of stepdads and how to apply performance psychology skills to become better father figures and role models. Building a band of brothers by focusing on empathy and accountability. Empathy, because being a stepdad is tough. Accountability, because I get it. Being a stepdad is tough, but you chose this role, so do it as best as you can. My name is Neil Wadier. I'm a 16-year stepdad. I'm also a resilience trainer and a performance consultant, encouraging you to join the Champion Stepdad Facebook group, get involved, and grow your band of brothers. This is the third episode exploring the 7 C's of resilience. I don't approach resilience training as if resilience is a skill in and of itself. I believe resilience is something you show. It's the result by learning and employing skills to produce or display more effective behaviors, emotions, thoughts, beliefs, and values, so you more effectively connect with friends and family while enhancing your ability to grow and thrive through stress and adversity. The 7 C's of resilience are independent yet interrelated components of your resilience abilities. I think this is an important distinction because I don't want you to focus on being a more resilient person. I want you to focus on the components, the mental skills, which will lead to you producing more effective behaviors, emotions, thoughts, beliefs, and values. In addition to your improved self-awareness and self-regulation, your relationships with your spouse, children, and stepchildren will benefit. Your ability to learn these skills will have an impact on them because they watch you. They interact with you so often that your ability to employ these will show them, not just through talking about it, but showing and displaying the behavior and taking responsibility. Here's the accountability part: taking responsibility for your actions and being honest. You know what? Yesterday, I lost control of my emotions. This actually happened very recently, where my stepchildren, 8 and 10 years old, were having some conflict. The 10-year-old was getting ready to go outside and play with a friend. 8-year-old was going to go with them. It was very much a condition of, Mason doesn't have anything to do. Jackson, you're going to take him with, and he's going to hang out with you today. And usually that's fine. But Jackson's in this transitional state where he wants to go further away from the house, across a main street, and to play with not only with the friends in the neighborhood, but friends in this other neighborhood that's a little further away. And Cindy isn't quite comfortable yet with the boys crossing this major intersection. She wants them to stay more local. So we had told Jackson, no, you can't go over to that area. And he got upset, not at us, but as they were going outside, got upset and basically told Mason, it's your fault, I can't go. And so, through all this conflict, Mason then got upset and he's like, well, if you're going to treat me that way, I'm not going to hang out with you. So he came back inside and was clearly upset. So this set me off. And I'm like, no, you're not going to treat him this way. You're not going to make excuses. And I got upset, and a little bit more than was necessary for the situation. But that was an emotional trigger for me because of things that I experienced in my youth. And so later on, we had a conversation, Cindy, Jackson, and I, about, this is, you were wrong in this situation, but I was also wrong in the way that I reacted. So taking responsibility for my actions, that it doesn't change the fact that what he did was wrong. It also doesn't justify my emotional reaction and going overboard to how I responded to the situation. So those are the type of conversations that build connection, showing that I'm continually improving. I'm trying to do my best. I'm going to make mistakes also, and we're all improving together, and we can all learn and grow together and hold each other accountable together. One of the core foundational elements of Champion Stepdad is empathy. Build your resilience and you'll grow your empathy and connection with others. And connection is the 3rd C of resilience. I've already talked about your ability to build your self-awareness and your self-regulation will lead to stronger connection, because it's going to lead to more empathy. I couldn't have that effective conversation. That's not something that my parents ever would have done when I was a kid. And it definitely built up walls between us, because Even when they were wrong, they didn't admit they were wrong. They never apologized. It is what it is. And, fuck it, go outside and play. And I don't want to see you, even though they were in the wrong. That didn't build connection between us. Connection is a sense of belonging, not only within your family, but within the many communities that you interact, whether it be your neighborhood, school, sports, activities, church, wherever it is that you have a community of people. You value connection, and the more connection you feel, the more welcome you feel into that community. Connection to others and belonging within your environment. It increases feelings of support, sharing of interests, hobbies, challenges, and obstacles, shared pain, feeling welcome and feeling safe to talk to people, be vulnerable, not in the weak sense, but in the sense of you don't build real connections unless you allow a certain amount of vulnerability. Of a friend of mine that I still talk to, that we served years ago in the military, and he used to talk often about the masks that he would wear, and he wouldn't let anybody in. And it was a result of his youth, but his connections in his community was very shallow, but that was very intentional on his part. And it took several years for him and I to get pretty close. I liked him. We hung out a lot, but for some reason it always seemed superficial. And it took me a while to understand, and for him to open up finally to say, I did that on purpose. I didn't want to let anybody get close to me. And so over the years, we broke down some of those barriers. That's him willing to be vulnerable, built that connection between us. You are a member of the Champion Stepdad community, whether you're listening to the podcast, you're in the Facebook group, or both. I created the group and the podcast to build connection with others who face similar struggles and can share their successes, can share their struggles, can ask questions, can provide advice or mentoring, which, by the way, within the Champion Stepdad Facebook group is the option for mentoring. And that's that connection of looking for somebody who might have some experience that you can learn from. And so we do have myself, and I think there's a few other people. I haven't checked it lately, but there's options for if you want to connect one-on-one with somebody and have some mentoring. And this is something that I'm familiar with that you may not. Is within the military community, they encourage mentorship type relationships where somebody with more experience is sharing with somebody with a little less experience. It doesn't mean smarter. It doesn't mean older or younger. It just means I have something that I want to learn, and you seem like you're a type of person that has ideas, or you have experience, or you have some type of education or knowledge in this area, and I want to learn more. I've had people contact me about stepdad specific stuff, career stuff, and just have conversations. And it doesn't even have to be a long drawn out thing. Like maybe you just have a question and you need a little bit of information. That's where mentors can help guide you in a specific area. Or maybe it's just general conversation, but make sure you check that out if it's something you're interested in, or if you want to be a mentor to somebody else. If you feel like you have knowledge and education and experience in certain areas where you would be willing to share that and help guide somebody else, that's where connection is built. And you have to be vulnerable, both as a mentor and as a protege, or whatever you want to call it, to build those relationships and those connections. That's what connection is all about. You have a community and you want to be more involved. You want to feel safe and secure so that you can grow, because feeling safe and secure is where you're going to ask the questions, and you're going to seek education and knowledge. And I say numerous times, the first step to education is admitting your ignorance about something. If you don't admit that you're ignorant, or that you don't know something about a subject, you're not going to be willing to accept education from someone or a source. So admitting your ignorance is not a weakness. It's in a way, whether you're talking about mentorship or education or counseling, it's admitting that I need something. I want something. And so seek those out, seek that connection, seek the mentorship, seek the involvement in the community. In addition to building connection, to feeling safe and secure, and being in a position where you can learn things. Connection enhances confidence. It helps you stand up and develop creative solutions. Because again, you can't learn anything if you don't admit your ignorance. And allowing yourself to open your mind to other possibilities and other ideas is creativity. That's I don't know what the definition of creativity is, but that sounds pretty close, right? Opening your mind to other solutions to problems and to gaining knowledge so that you can be in a better place, both with, with knowledge, skills, and abilities and experience, education, to better handle those situations down the road and maybe be a mentor to someone else. But connection doesn't just happen. You have to take chances and get involved. If you're listening to this, that's great. If you're part of the community, that's great. But if you're just sitting and listening, you're not getting the full effect. You're not going to build connection. Go and be a good friend, a caring family member, and a dedicated community member to whatever community it is that you belong to or you want to belong to. When you're seeking connection with children, your greatest asset is unconditional love. Love without strings attached, freely and without condition. Now, unconditional love does not tolerate abuse, neglect, or mistreatment from you or from someone else. So unconditional love is not free reign for somebody to treat you like shit or for you to treat other people like shit. It is the absence and the understanding that abuse, neglect, and mistreatment is not acceptable. Unconditional love does include standards of behavior and accountability for actions. Unconditional love does not degrade, demean, or put someone down for failing to achieve a performance level or a goal. Whether you're talking about on the sports field or just living life in the house, you don't put conditions on love. If you hit this baseball, I'm gonna love you. Even if they strike out, it's still, you know what, we're building this up. We're learning. It's a chance to learn. I love you, including your faults. That's unconditional love. And that is the greatest gift that you can give your children. It's the greatest gift you can give your spouse. Unconditional love remains hopeful for best effort, not for results, but for best effort, and encourages the pursuit of excellence, not perfection. The constant pursuit of excellence. And excellence, people get that confused. Excellence is not perfection. Excellence is the constant pursuit of knowledge, skills, and abilities so you can continually get better. Unconditional love feeds and nourishes the souls of others. And all of this is builds your empathy so you can feel connected to others, so you can be connected to others, to feel known, understood, and adored. I went from a high conflict, very toxic relationship before I even really understood the meaning of that word or that term, through an extremely rough road of self-awareness. I held myself accountable. I went to counseling. I listened to friends. I gave my friends permission to tell me what I needed to hear. And man, did they. And it's amazing. Safety in a relationship has encouraged me to share my thoughts and my feelings with my friends. And now, with a friend who has become my spouse. And you need to give that to others as well. My 8 and 10-year-old stepsons deserve to feel safe to share their thoughts and feelings within healthy boundaries, but they have to feel safe. If I'm an asshole, or if I'm, I don't let them talk, I don't let them share their emotions, they're not going to come to me. They're not going to feel loved enough to want to share their thoughts and their feelings. And that's going to be a barrier to humor and, wanting to spend time. They come to me and all the time. Mason sits down, we play games together. We were sitting down playing Xbox Plants versus Zombies, which is hilarious. It's like playing Call of Duty, but it's funny. It's Plants versus Zombies. But he loves to do that. And with Jackson, he's exploring sports. He wants to play catch. He wants to throw the football. He wants to throw the baseball. He wants to learn things. He wants to learn how to fix his bike. But if he doesn't feel safe with me, he's not going to come to me and ask for my help. He's going to end up finding other means and other people. And I don't want that. When people feel connected, they're more likely to seek challenge and knowledge. And that's one of the struggles I've had with Jackson. He's kind of one of those know-it-all kids, and he's scared of going outside of his knowledge boundary because they don't want to look silly. So we've worked on that. And we've talked about how seeking knowledge and admitting your ignorance about something is okay. It invites knowledge into your life. When he has historically felt afraid of looking dumb or being made to feel dumb, he's going to resist challenge. So we've really worked on that. Not only his outlook and his approach, but my approach as well. Because I'd get annoyed, and I wouldn't, I'd get annoyed with him and his mindset and his know-it-all attitude. And I've changed my approach to it, and I've changed my attitude towards it to more of a coaching approach, where I encourage him to discuss and I encourage him to seek knowledge rather than just try to let me know how much he knows. To build connection, you have to start by understanding and deliberately living your values. In the book Atomic Habits by James Clear, highly recommend you read it if you have not. He talks about creating an image of the person you want to be and the life you want to live. And then every action, spoken word, and thought is a vote for or against the person that you see and the life that you imagine. So you have to decide the person you want to be and vividly see the actions that support that person and that life. To be authentic, to invest in relationships and give your time. You have to be available, understanding you have to set boundaries, healthy boundaries. That is every time I say something, that is an assumed. Healthy boundaries is always assumed to be part of. I'll try to remember to include that in my statements, but you should not have to deal with people that treat you bad. And other people should not have to deal with you treating them bad. It's that mutual respect, unconditional love, building connection. And sometimes you won't be available, and that's okay. When it happens, just choose your words wisely. No, I can't do that. Instead of saying, no, I can't do that, or no, it's not now. But this is when we can do it. And trying to be more proactive. One of the people that I used to work with when we did organizational development, learning and development, he was very adamant on the idea of don't say no because, say yes if, or yes when. And that's a more proactive approach where people feel more open. No because is a brick wall. Yes if or yes when is more hopeful, and it's creative, and it leads more towards possibilities. Find ways to connect not only with what you're interested in, but also where your stepchildren are interested, where your spouse is interested. Introduce them to new things and try new things, but also be willing to try what they're interested in. Understanding, and this is something that I'm dealing with right now, that they're going to be all over the place. Earlier in the year, it was with Jackson, it was football. With Mason, it was basketball, and Mason still wants to do basketball. But Jackson's all over the place. Now he wants to try baseball. Then he wants to try swimming. Then he wants to try this and this. And, I kind of get frustrated with it, but I got to remember he's 10 and he's exploring. And of course he wants to do what his friends are doing. So just be open. Find games, activities, challenges that you can take on together, sports, exercise, explore your community. We took the kids out four-wheeling out in the desert, the Arizona desert. We took them to, farmers markets and just walked around and let them experience what there is out there rather than just going to look at a specific thing. Mason loves to go to the library. So we go every few weeks. He uses the computer to search for books. I challenge him to find them. I'll guide him. Sometimes he gets frustrated, but I tell him, like, look, the little alphabet's on the wall. You got to find it. And when he gets frustrated, I'm like, stop, take a breath, just start at A and go until you find the author that you're looking for, the book title you're looking for. But we do it together, and we walk. We either walk or ride bikes, mostly walk, because it's only like 4 blocks. But we walk, and the whole time the kid's just talking and talking and talking and talking. And it's great, and man, he talks sometimes, annoys the shit out of me. And that's an inside joke that Cindy and I have. But if I don't allow him to talk, if I shut that down, eventually he's going to stop talking. So I have to build my expectation, and I have to have my emotional control to be like, you know what? This is who the kid is. Encourage it. And it's great. And we've really connected over just going to the library. I invited the kids to help me fix the sink. It had a slow drain. So I showed them how simple it is to really work on a sink. And they thought it was gross, but they laughed and giggled the whole time. It was a great way to teach them, but also bond over a simple task. And finally, the last thing I'm going to lead you with is build them up. Although everyone is different with their perspective, mindset, and tolerance, psychology research has shown that negative resonates 4 times as much as positive. And I'm not one of those people that says you always have to be nice and kind all the time. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is if you demean and degrade people, that kind of negativity is 4 to 5 times more powerful. That means that you have to build them up even more. And sometimes you have to just understand that what you said was well intended, but how is it received? That's how communication works. It's not just what you've said, it's how it's being received. And to understand how you can best communicate what it is that you're trying to communicate for the best outcome. And for the best outcome means that you need to understand how it's received and figure out how you can build them up instead of tearing them down. Focus less on mistakes. If you constantly focus on negative, you'll always be focused on negative. And then the more you look at the things that they're doing wrong or the things that annoy you, the more of those annoying things you're going to see. But if you focus on the good things that they do, the more you do that, you're going to see the good things that they do. Even in the, the Mason talking and talking and talking, I've looked at that as a positive. The kid likes to talk. It's a connection that we've built. Catch them doing things right and give them positive reinforcement. When talking with your young children, remember their attention span is short. So keep it short. Somebody once told me, tweet your message. Makes total sense. Get to the point. Cindy's caught me on that numerous times. She's like, dude, you're running this thing into the ground. The eyes are glazed over. They're not paying attention. I'm like, all right, what's the point? So take this as a message and ideas of ways that you can go find ways to build connection for you, your family, and your communities. Thanks for listening to the Champion Stepdad podcast. I have 2 tasks for you to take this week. First, choose one action from today's conversation to implement in your life. Second, share this podcast and community with someone who wants to become a better stepdad. I appreciate your direct message feedback and would appreciate your online review of the podcast. Your honest rating and review helps me improve the show and helps others find our community. Thanks and have a great week.